everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 368. Holy smokes. It is May the 27th, 2020. 368. Holy cow, I can't believe we've done that many. Anyway, I am your host this week, Mr. Tony Schaefer, and we are about to embark on a journey into advanced technology, mobility, and sustainable energy. But fortunately, and I don't know how this is coming out, Skype's new update, but I think we have a new grid view going here and get to see all of us at the same time instead of only seeing like 4 people, I think, and the rest dots and whatever. So everyone's going to have to pay attention now because you're on screen all the time. No more nodding off, Patrick, all right?
Potentially.
Yeah.
He was nodding off during the Tesla life. I saw him.
I'm just going to take a nap now.
I just knew I was going on too long.
I'm going to go around the horn, and I am going to start a little known fact. My co-host this week, Mr. Russell Frost, was Mr. Universe 1985.
It's little known because it's little true.
Tony, thank you. You know, you can just, like, I just made a simple request and boom. My man Tony was right there. Hey, everybody. Hello from the bottom left corner of America where it's a beautiful 73 degrees and sunny and all the plants are growing. And if you care about any of that, follow me at Russell Frost on Twitter. 2 L's.
Is there a 1L, Russell Frost?
Everybody spells my name with 1 L. Everybody.
Your name wrong every time.
Different extra. That's why.
If they just spell Russ, would that be Noel? Noel? Noel?
I gotta go.
All right, that's it. That's your dad joke for the night.
Here we go.
I'm going to move
Good
on
night.
to our man.
Okay.
Our man in Boulder, Colorado, the owner of Boulder Hybrids. He is Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey everybody, I don't have my headset today, so the audio might be a little crappy, but I'm here, so.
Sound good, Paul.
That's all that matters. You sound better than you look. Moving on.
What was that?
Wow.
Man, it's a rough show tonight.
Yeah.
It's a cold room.
We're like 3 minutes in. All right. I'm going to kick it up north to our man, Mr. Mark Conklin.
Hello, everyone, and I appreciate that vote of confidence, Tony, keeping the jokes on the down low up here. So that's good. That's good.
I don't want to offend you. You might be my neighbor depending on November.
Might be
You
your
need a
boss.
You need a reference, don't you?
I do. I'm still working on memorizing "Oh Canada" in French. I'm about halfway through. I'm going to head back over to the West Coast. He is the main dude of the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. He is Mr. Patrick.
Hello from sunny Oregon. This is a great time of year. The solar's cranking out and the air conditioner hasn't kicked on yet, so feeding the grid. Good stuff.
Oh, nice. Nice. On the full opposite side of the continent, I'm just going to kick it over to Mr. Casey Green.
Yeah, we running the air conditioner out here.
Do you, I have no idea. I've not looked at a map, but there was a tropical storm or something. Is that anywhere near you?
It is going to miss my area and kind of go up the side. It did look like it hit my house, though, the one in South Carolina.
Oh, wow. All right. Any word on that?
No, so I guess that's a good thing, unless everybody's out of power or something.
Or it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
Right. Yes, your renters are dead and your house is destroyed. You haven't heard any news. I hope not.
But no news is good news, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
With Gary News.
Right now, it's Schrodinger's house. You don't know if it's standing or not.
That's right.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, I should have started with the other woman I spend my Wednesdays with. She is this Georgia McKenzie.
Oh man, you got her. You got her good.
I got her.
Okay.
All right.
And it is a lovely 101 degrees here in beautiful Northern California. which makes me laugh because Russell's in Southern California enjoying 73 degrees, and my AC is definitely kicking in and has not stopped, even though I put it all the way up to 82, and it's still going, nah, it's hot.
Wow.
And my
Yeah.
plants have been burnt.
It's really just a matter of proximity to the ocean. I can see the ocean. You're too far inland.
Technically, if I call it up on the computer, I too can see the ocean.
Point taken.
Touche.
And we can all see the ocean that way.
That's
Mhm.
right.
We're
I
all
can see the ocean, and it
surfing.
doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
Well, let's go ahead and get this show started. And first and foremost, Russell posted a video. He spent some time with a Tesla, not Elon.
Willingly.
Willingly.
So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about that review, but I also want to suggest you go to the Tesla Life and search the Tesla Life on YouTube. Look for the shiny red logo. Click on that and watch the Tesla Life show where we spend about 20 minutes talking about the review. Good conversation. And we don't necessarily need to repeat it here because you guys are all mobile. You're all clicky. You can go anywhere you want in seconds. So do check out, was that episode 150, Mark?
Yep.
Episode 150. Do check that out. Yes, at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Just posted the Model Y test drive. Not a full review. I got to spend 17 minutes, and I counted 17 minutes in the Model Y, put down some thoughts, put down some video. I think it came out well, and I'm very interested to know what all of you think. Does that format work? Are you getting enough information out of it? Normally, I get a car. I have it for a week or more, and I get to do all kinds of things, and you obviously develop some deeper impressions that way. The question is there usable information in that shorter test drive kind of thing? And if there is, then maybe we'll do some more cars that way. Also wanted to mention two things. This morning posted the 2020 Toyota Highlander hybrid review. That is up at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Interesting, I would drive two SUVs, as it were, CUVs in the same week. So you can go check out that. I had a really interesting time with that vehicle. And as we speak today, it arrived yesterday. I'm currently driving for review probably next week, the 2020 Toyota Supra. So I plan on sending it back with bald tires to answer the question forming in most of your minds. Yes, the
Practice
tires
your
will need to be
drifting skills, Russell.
I am practicing all of them. Yes. Yeah. Forward, backwards, sideways. It's gonna go back with racing slicks on the back. That's my intention. And
Now, I can't wait to hear your review of the Tesla truck, because I would love to see that.
yeah, I don't know. That's we'll see when and if that happens. I've expressed some skeptical that the truck is not a real product right now, and that it may not be a real product in the future. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, beer bet. I'll
Beer
take
bet.
it.
$1, Mortimer.
Beer bet.
Yeah.
The beers just fly back and forth between you and me, don't they?
Yeah, I think this is an easy one for me. Will the Cybertruck exist? I win. Just give me a beer now.
Well, one already exists.
Will a production Cybertruck be
Okay.
sold in the United States?
Yes.
Right. Yep. So you got it certainly by August of 2021.
Oh.
That's I'll even.
Wow.
I'll even
You're going to stick with August of 2021 as that's going to. I'll take that bet.
All right. There you go.
August
Sometime
1st?
that year.
Or 31st.
Well, if you're gonna, I'll take the 31st if you're going to give it to me.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you August
What if the
31st
15th?
of 2021.
Yeah.
If it is
Okay.
not on sale to the general public,
Right. But if they're, how about
No, if they haven't
How many-
shipped any.
yeah, production
It's
versions
on sale
of
now.
the-
yeah, that's true. Thank you, Paul. Will customers not named Musk actually be able to drive it?
There you go.
That's all I got.
Well, let's see.
Any questions on the reviews from the panel? No, thank
Where are they again?
Yeah.
Russ?
I'm sorry, Paul.
Where are they again?
They are at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, I'm entering for August the 4th, 2021. Russell,
Putting it on your calendar.
Patrick, Bet.
I've never
Cyber
recorded these
Rock.
bets, and I
know, yeah.
And reference today, May 27th, 2020.
Or the
Yeah.
episode
Yeah,
number.
right.
I have
Yeah.
this feeling that I've won most of the bets, but I bet Patrick was the same way.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying New Year's Eve,
You can only collect
just
it.
for funsies.
So yeah, you'll say during 2021
What
sometime.
drives us.
Okay.
Yeah, sometime that year. By the end of the year, they'll have one out. Probably 5. That's the way they do things. End of the year, they'll get here 5 real people.
Yeah, they do tend to be end of year deadline driven. I should have went that way, but that's okay. Yep.
All right, I would share with you the reminder on my calendar, but there's personal like birthdays and anniversaries and stuff.
No, yeah.
So
Yeah.
privacy. So okay, it's there. The bet is entered. Okay, let's just go ahead and move on. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, I think we had talked about Hyundai and their new warranty. Casey has a story about a new player in the high, and it was Lexus, a new player in the high warranty market.
Yeah. So you've got Lexus, Hyundai. How would you like a 9-passenger van with a 15-year, 1 million kilometer battery warranty?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What if I told you that the manufacturer's name was Yoda? Toyota.
And then you told us they'll never sell it in America.
Yeah, they don't
Yes.
make
Yeah.
battery vehicles. What are you talking
It is
about?
called the Toyota Pro Ace. The initial version they're showing us is a panel van, and they said by next year they should have a 9-seat version, and you can get it with 50 or 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. Good for a range of 230 or 330 kilometers on the WLTP. They don't look bad for a work vehicle.
Coming to your hotel shuttle, airport
Mhm.
shuttle.
Yeah. It looks
Oh,
like
it'd make it
vehicle type.
perfect. Oh, that'd make an awesome airport shuttle. It really would. Yeah.
Especially it's a
when
known
they're
route.
realizing
They stop, they plug it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and as the work van, but I mean, you just have to think of the fleet manager who looks at something like this and says, 15-year, 1 million kilometers, maintaining a battery state of charge above 75%, or whatever
I wonder,
potential.
though, will they offer that to commercial customers? Because a lot of times the warranties that you read about are not for commercial use. They're only for consumers.
That sucks if they do that, because it's a panel van.
But like
right.
if you have a Prius and use it as a taxi cab,
Okay,
you
yeah,
don't honor the warranty because you're beating the crap out of it.
I understand that. Hopefully
I'm
they don't
kind
pull
of
that.
thinking Paul is right, because it pretty clearly says delivery van. And I mean, I'm looking at it and there's no windows and it's basically a high-tech kidnapper van. So
It'd be a
I'm
great
pretty much
Amazon
thinking,
van.
look at that. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm gonna hold off on going yay until I hear what they say about the 9-seat passenger van.
Yeah.
But I will say this. You can do 1,275 kilograms of cargo, and it's got 100 kilowatts of output, so it's fairly
So
well equipped for power.
how much does 9 people weigh?
More than that. The gross vehicle weight goes from 2,800 kilograms to 3,100 kilograms, and 0 to 60 in a very sprightly 13.1 seconds.
Not with 9 people in it.
Of course not.
Oh, probably not with 9 people. Yeah.
But you get a single phase 7.4 kilowatt charger or a 3-phase 11 kilowatt charger. So it is not going to be a slow charger
Yeah.
if you can feed it.
I'm
And-
worried about
and-
the range. So the WLTP cycle is pretty
Very
generous, right? So take 30% off of that range to get it to EPA, and then so 330 kilometers discounted from 30%. Then you convert that to miles times 0.62. You get about 140 miles range.
Yeah, that's about. I was
Um,
thinking 135, 140.
Then maybe take another 10 off, 20 off if you load it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay level.
Another
And-
30 off if it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Right. So now you're down to 100 miles. And if if that use case works for you, 100 miles is enough for a day, or you plan you have infrastructure for midday charging or whatever. There's certainly great use cases for something with that range, but you have to be mindful of it when you go in, because if you get something that doesn't meet your needs, you're going to be horribly disappointed with it and think, oh, these things suck. Well, no, what works well is when it fits your needs well. That's what you, so yeah, be mindful of that and you'll be fine.
Yep. And then as a delivery vehicle, you can plug it in while you're loading it up. As an airport shuttle, you can plug it in while you're unloading the suitcases and the people in between flights, unless you don't have enough time, then you on your lunch break plug it in.
Flights, Casey?
There are these things that we used to do before we couldn't put people tightly in metal tubes and throw them through the air.
Right. But then, you do have to think of, in addition to the intermittent charging like that, and I know some hotels, of course, will run 2 or 3 different vans, and they'll do like hourly runs or 15-minute runs, and so they can, charge one end, it'll be charging for 30 minutes while the other one's doing. So all they really have to do is make it through the day.
Yep.
And then fill it up, top it off overnight, and then do it again.
Yep. And most of them aren't 50 miles from the airport.
Right. So yeah, and stuff like that. And like Georgia was saying, I mean, there's plenty of room on the side to write free candy on this. It's perfect for that.
Or
So if you
van
are
life.
ecologically minded serial killer, this is the wet van for you.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
most
but it's too
campsites have
quiet.
electricity.
They'll hear the kids screaming.
That's true.
That is a disadvantage. Yeah.
When's that call
Wow.
coming in from the lawyer, Russ?
So you get the panel van version. You load it up with a bed and shelves and an oven, stove, cooktop, whatever, and you've got yourself a small van life.
See, we had this conversation when we were talking about EV RVs, and you said exactly that. And as I was reading about this car, I was actually thinking of you, thinking, "Well, here is your your camp."
The problem is, it's not going to work for a trip. Like,
No,
would
it
you-
won't work for any trip.
Yeah.
Very slowly from campground to campground.
Yeah.
If you're retired and in no hurry, well, okay.
I watched a video of this guy with he had a solar rig and he's traveling exclusively on solar, and the panels for his van are much larger than the van itself.
Wow.
And he has to stay everywhere for a week to go to the.
Casey,
during the day.
I don't want to ruin anything for you, but I think you watched the second half of the movie The Martian.
It was on
Yes.
YouTube. It wasn't bad.
So this is the guy who was going from Anchorage to South America.
That was it.
Yeah, in a Solarola, which you know where those are
Solarola.
built? Right
Right
here
up there.
in Portland. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Well,
then
okay.
they didn't put the locking pin in, and then the solar panel sheared off in the wind.
Oops.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes! And what was it? Is it on YouTube?
It is. It's on the. It's on Now You Know. Now You Know channel.
But I
Okay.
guess
He has his own channel too.
the
Oh, yeah, he
takeaway
has a-
here is Toyota's setting a pretty high bar for battery
Yes.
warranty, and everyone else is probably going to have to match that or exceed it to play.
Because right now you've only got Lexus, Hyundai, Kia, Tesla, and did we have anybody else who touched that warranty? So yeah, you're right. They all got to come up if they want to compete at this point. Because Toyota, I don't believe in EVs, is doing this. Then
And Toyota's pretty conservative. Like their Prius battery warranty was 100,000 miles,
right,
and most Priuses got closer to 200 than 100 on the pack battery. So if they're conservative with this, you could get
2 million.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome when it's real in this country.
Is it
Hopefully
ever going to
some-
come to this country? They probably had to put it in a different frame.
Well,
That's
the
question.
high
Will
ace van
will
is
Will
sold.
it come across the ocean? Will it ever land in North America?
So they have a van called the High Ace, which is sold everywhere but here, which is an amazing van. and for whatever reason, they never brought it to North America.
Probably
So,
the chicken tax.
Yeah, or it was too good for America.
Or that.
Too good for Americans.
Wouldn't keep enough money in the service department. You know.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
The
for-
Hilux, right? I mean, same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
Hilux. For those who don't know, the chicken tax is an extra tax on automobiles coming from Europe, and keeps a lot of fully. That's why they did the trick with the Ford Transit Connect EV. They shipped it over as a passenger vehicle, and they
Passenger van, and then they took the seats out or something.
Yep.
But if there's a big enough market, they can open a factory here, in North America.
run a shift. I mean, they've got plenty of factories here.
Yeah.
Like they
Well,
make
I want to.
the big pickup trucks, the Tundras in Texas, because it's more cost effective than making them in Mexico.
Yeah.
What? Somebody have a joke.
Someone's fan just
And,
joked like that.
You know,
That sound tells us that someone said the word of the day. And/or
Exactly.
we should move on to George's story, which takes us to one of our favorite topics, which is mass transportation.
Well, here's the problem that we are all having. We have to get on a bus, and it's now the time. Now it is the decade of Corona. I called it. You can all thank me or curse me out for saying that's what it's going to be. But how are we going to get people back on the bus? So this article about getting back to the bus and back to work talks about the fact that there's just no way to have single occupancy vehicles fill the gap that is left by not using public transit. Because if you read the article, and I am terrible with numbers, so I cannot retain anything, it's 10 billion annual trips, and we can't keep that kind of cars on the road and still hit our targets for sustainability. So in discussing it, one of the things that I've seen, and it is brought up in the article, is rear entry doors, extra time for sanitation, prioritizing high occupancy, high travel routes, and basically just encouraging people to not just have the responsibility for mask wearing and social distancing, but also to really determine the flow of traffic and make sure we prioritize getting essential workers to and from the employment hubs. Is that a laugh?
No, I totally agree that masks should be required, and I would also wear some sort of gloves just to protect yourself when you're. And you're right. If we had the normal everybody driving their cars, commuting, and then you added everybody who was taking public transportation into a private personal vehicle on top of that, it not only would it's not possible, but there would be so much traffic. It would just be a logjam, and nobody would get anywhere.
Yeah.
So we need good solutions. I think two wheels has a good chance of coming out of this being a more viable option. Some cities like Portland are already pretty bikeable, and I think more cities should start looking into how they can encourage that mode of transportation, and motorcycles as well. And we need to rethink things and enable public transportation.
And that's part of what the second article I posted brought up, which is that New York City bike ridership went up 67%. Because yes, one of the other sides of sustainable transit methods is not just high occupancy vehicles, but it is also personal vehicles like a plain and simple bike. And I was thinking about we had to ring the death knell for an EV bike last episode, and I just keep thinking, maybe they pulled the plug on it just a little too soon, although it was ugly as hell. But ugly still works. Ugly bikes that move you from A to B, if you can produce it cheaply and get us there, why not? So I think despite the negatives of coronavirus and the lockdowns and the whole situation where we literally don't know how long we're going to have to deal with this and what the new normal is going to be, one, we are going to get back on those buses just because, as we were talking before the show about the hairdressers, you know, they went to work because they had to go to work. Well, people have to go to work, and we need this transit option because car ownership, even electric vehicle ownership is just not viable for everybody. But alternative transit modes of bicycles, personal powered vehicles, and even electric bikes are well within reach of a greater amount of the populace, especially in dense areas like cities. So I think there is a way out of this, and it's actually a good sign because people are making that switch naturally.
We have to be careful not to fall into the trap of return to normal, because normal before kind of sucked in a lot of ways. And this is an opportunity for us to do things better. A lot of people have made the observation that, wow, you know, the air's a little cleaner and there's more birds and things are a little bit nicer, that the roads aren't clogged with ICE vehicles all day long pumping out smog.
And
This is
a lot of people can do their job without driving to the office. I mean,
there's that as well.
When we do return to
Absolutely.
normal, people only go to their office 2 or 3 days a week instead of 5, and that will help.
This is our chance to close some streets to car traffic and truck traffic and open it up to pedestrians and bicyclists. This is our chance to encourage these sort of, I don't want to say passive, because obviously I want to see us push people in the right direction. Not push, help people move in the right direction. And the places where they can bicycle or walk, we should do everything we can. And New York's Manhattan's a classic example. It's one of the most unfriendly pedestrian and bicyclist cities. And it's a city that should be covered with bicycles.
Yeah. This whole thing strikes pretty close to home to me because as I read this article and other articles about return to norm, and let's redefine what we think normal is. Here I am sitting here in a Chicago suburb thinking, I wonder what would have happened if Chicago burned and people said, great, let's rebuild it exactly the same way it was. Let's build all of these low buildings out of wood. And, no, you didn't do that. They said, now's the perfect time to redesign the city, and let's start from scratch, and let's take this as an opportunity to move forward. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, Portland and Seattle have both released plans to cut some streets off to cars and make them low-speed friendly, so you can bike and walk. And they were actually talking about how they want that space to allow pedestrians while maintaining social distancing, or physical distancing, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of smaller cities, their main street, they're closing the traffic and they're letting the restaurants have outdoor seating on the sidewalk and on the streets to give social distancing and allow them to operate with business. And it would sure be nice to stroll down a main street with no cars,
Yeah, Charleston would do that every third Sunday, and
yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. You don't have to do it every day, but wouldn't it be cool? Because I know there are cities around here, there are suburbs that do this thing called First Friday. Mm-hmm. And the first Friday of every month, the stores are open later and there are sales, and you just see people out and mingling. Wouldn't it be great if Main Street was closed the first Friday of every month? And restaurants had outdoor seating, and you could do that. Just things like that.
Yeah, I agree with everybody here, because to me, speaking ex Black Phaedra, I believe in not going back to normal, because normal really sucked. So let's get experimental. Let's take the opportunity. Just as an example, a great example, the reason why England has a national health service is because they took the opportunity after World War II, when they rebuilt, to add in a national health service. Mm-hmm. Don't go back to normal, go back to better.
Exactly. Ding, ding. Yes.
Like some friends of mine, they
back to better.
That's not a MAGA hat. No, that's a better slogan.
So some of my friends, they managed to make the switch to permanent work from home, and they sold their Tesla. So, I mean, if that's just one group doing it out of everybody, I mean, we don't have to like you said, we don't have to go back to what we were doing. We can make it better than it was.
Yeah, I think you're going to have that split because bike riding isn't going to do it for everyone.
In Ontario,
Besides physically and of course where you are geographically, biking in the winter really sucks, as people with snow will tell you. But if you can do the combination of work at home as well as get back to more busing, those two, and with some biking in the summer months and of course the warmer weather, that's going to help. I think you're going to have it on all these different fronts in order to get to a solution.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I wasn't in any way saying that's for everybody, but if the city doesn't even have bike lanes, it makes it really hard, right? So I'm just saying they need to enable it for people where that is viable. Yeah, good point.
Now I want to say one thing that was in the article, and it's the Rocky Mountain Institute, which I read a lot of stuff from RMI. Really thoughtful, really good writing. But there was one thing that really struck me, and I don't know if this was an oversight, but there was the mention of buses. Some of the buses receive funding from taxes, and specifically from gas tax.
Yeah.
So at the same time, he says the key is to get cars off the road and reduce the number of internal combustion vehicles driving on the road and provide more funding for mass transportation. And then says mass transportation gets their funding from the gas tax. It just seems to me that as we have fewer people buying gas, the amount of gas tax will go down. So you can't increase funding on something when its main revenue source is being cut. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it does cause a perverted. Go ahead, George.
Oh no, well, I'm just gonna speak. Attend your city meetings, because funding for public transportation at the governmental level is where you need to be concerned. You can sign up to public transit organizations and find out what they need you to do to advocate for additional funding. ResistBot, Russell sees me tweeting that out on a regular basis, telling people, here's what you need to do. Go to ResistBot, tell it where you are and what you want to say so you can talk about these issues. I cannot stress this enough. Advocacy to cut off things like public transportation from being tied into the gas tax is what's going to assist you in actually making for more sustainable public transit and less reliance on gas as an actual government funding tool. If you can excise the two, then you have a path forward. So Tony's right there, that it is a catch-22 that nobody deals with, but that's because nobody actually talks about the fact that although gas is not a negative thing, it's just a thing, but using essentially a negative environmental impact object like gas to fund a positive environmental impact thing like public transportation means that they're going to be at loggerheads at some point.
Yeah, and another good point about that is with us all going EV, we've already seen this in Illinois, South Carolina, Virginia, where you cut all your gas consumption by going EV, and now they try to make up all that money off of you with some weird formula that makes absolutely no sense, or they just pull it out of thin air that, oh, you should pay 8 times the gas tax that you would have used with your Prius. And they've got to come up with another way, even for the gas cars, because they want you to use less fuel, so you're going to buy a more efficient vehicle, right? So
to Casey's point, if you do own an EV and are in the state, connect with your local EV group, because nothing speaks larger than when you're in a group and you're all speaking together. If you get saddled with an unfair licensing fee or gas tax, that's your best recourse, is to, as a group, challenge the government on their findings altogether. That's how you can make a difference.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, because paying a reasonable amount for the roads, sure, absolutely. We want to use them. That's great. But then paying the equivalent of 8 miles per gallon? No, that's not what my vehicle would be getting if it were equivalent gas. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like why should a Prius pay more to use the road than a Hummer, which is, or a Suburban that's heavier and wrecks the roads more?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. There you have it.
Good
So
story.
I'm going to move on and, almost the exact opposite of what we were just talking about.
We're that kind of show.
I know, right? It is. We're kind of ping-ponging around here, I think, tonight. But so BloombergNEF had an article saying that the electric vehicle sales have fallen 18% in 2020, but still very positive outlook for the future. Now, what's interesting is when you think, that, EVs have dropped 18%, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's really bad. Well, if there's a good point to that, it's that overall car market is expected to shrink by 23%. So the EVs are being hit less hard than all the other vehicles. But even with the forecasted drop this year, they're still expected, and of course these are all estimates and speculations, but they believe that by the year 2040, trends will be such that electric vehicles will account for 58% of new passenger car sales globally, which would be about 31% of the whole car fleet, if you, as you account for attrition and whatever. And they make further speculations by 2040. They say that buses, 67% electric, and already we're seeing a lot of the two-wheelers, and they're including little scooters and things globally. And we know how big electric scooters are in places, China and India, starting to hit the market in the United States. 47% of two-wheelers, they say, will be electric by the year 2040. And I know that's 20 years off, but just think, 15 years ago, when we were looking at, just hybrids, we didn't even have like EVs on the market, but hybrids were like 0.3% of the market. So even to go out 20 years and say that, 58% of new cars could be EVs, that's a huge turnaround. One more piece before we open this up for discussion. One more piece, and this is interesting to me. The speculation that 2017 was the peak for internal combustion engine car sales.
That is interesting. Yeah, so that they expect to never recover back to that 2017 level.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if batteries keep getting cheaper and companies start giving million-kilometer warranties, they're not going to be financially competitive very soon.
Right, and so it makes sense that buses would lead because that's managed by fleet managers, and they're looking at total cost of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
they're saving with fuel, they're saving with maintenance, saving with everything. And we look at, and we're starting to see it more possibly in regular cars, but the EVs, of course, the kick in the butt for Tesla, bringing in over-the-air updates. So now you have a car with a 1 million kilometer warranty, 15-year warranty, and the car is going to get updated on a regular basis, constantly improving the car. I mean, seriously, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, I've got two comments about this article. The title, they say EVs drop by 18%, but you could say, since gas-powered cars are dropping by more than that, that EV market shares grows, right? So I mean, it's all about how you phrase it. Because if gas cars are dropping by 23%, EVs only by 18%, now a higher percentage of them are EVs than they were previously. So it's all in how you phrase that math there.
Right. Fair enough.
And then the second one, go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to interrupt, sorry. With the economy where it is and the big auto whining that they're not going to have any customers, they might do a cash for clunkers thing And a lot of these people trading in their 2002 Camrys might go, hey, maybe it's time to get an EV, So
Yeah.
that could help stimulate sales.
Yeah, we saw hybrids take off during Cash for Clunkers, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, another Cash for Clunkers is a good idea for economic stimulus and improving the vehicle emissions. That's a great idea.
Assuming the clunkers really do end up being decommissioned and recycled. If we're simply sending them offshore to somewhere else where they'll stay.
In the last round of Cash for Clunkers, they actually had to put a cocktail in the engine and run the engine till it exploded.
And then they had to verify and certify anyone who.
Can I have that job?
Anyone who cheated was subject to massive fines.
But go on YouTube and search Cash for Clunkers engine destructions, and they poured this stuff in the engine that, after a few minutes, would destroy it. And all these videos of junkyards doing it, and it's like Jimmy Bob and Billy Joe going, "Hey, let's see if it blows up real good."
Blowed up real good.
Yeah.
Is that stuff commercially available? Because I got a neighbor kid with a car that's just really loud.
Pour it in his Mustang.
Now.
Oh wait, is anyone recording this? Are we?
No, nobody watches this show.
Okay, yeah, right.
Just
But
your
yeah,
lawyer.
they had to literally
Okay.
destroy every engine of every car that got sent in, and then they painted the engine pink. So if it got to the junkyard and you went to buy parts, and you saw a pink engine in the junkyard, you wouldn't touch it because you knew it was defective internally.
Oh wow. Patrick, I want to get back to your part number 2.
Okay. So part number 2 was they have 2040 as their year. And I think that's a little conservative, just because the way that these things go, technology has a long, slow growth. It's a sinusoid, right? So, and then it hits the hockey stick, and then things change. So it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. And EVs are on that path of, right now, they're getting a little better every year. And there's going to be a point in time when they become cheaper to buy than an equivalent gas car. And they're faster, and they're cheaper to fuel, and they have less maintenance, and they're quieter, and they're quicker, and they have more tech. And it's going to happen, that hockey stick. So I don't think we have to wait till 2040 to get to about 50% sales. I think that'll happen in the end of 2020s, 2029, 2030. So I'm more optimistic than they are. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not that unrealistic, but I don't think it'll be 20 years to get to half of the new car sales.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, note that bet down.
All right, is that a beer bet?
Me versus Bloomberg. Yeah, 2030, 50% new car sales.
Yeah.
They said 2040. I say 2030.
So I
Look at smartphones, right? In 2007, very few people had a smartphone, and now who doesn't have a smartphone, right?
Yeah. So in 2030, if you're going to shop for a car, it would be like thinking about getting a flip phone versus a smartphone today. Yeah, you're not even going to seriously consider a flip phone today. So you wouldn't really consider a gas car in 2030 unless you have a very niche reason that you need it.
right. Yeah.
A burner car.
Yeah. A burner car,
Like
good,
a
because you're going to rob a
phone.
bank and then drive it into the ocean.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna round out the night with a story from Casey and safety.
Yep. How about if I told you the stats for how many people die from speeding? And then I didn't do it. Volvo
Good,
is
thank you. It rocked me to sleep.
Volvo is limiting their new cars to 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles per hour, which is plenty in almost every jurisdiction worldwide. And this came from Inside EV, so they're following it from the electric car angle, but Volvo is in it for safety. I mean, yeah, it will be nice for fuel economy and everything, but just on safety, like Georgia said, let's go back to better when we go back. And Volvo started. I mean, they've always been a safety brand, and
They have. Yep. That's
putting their money where
been
their mouth is yet again. Yeah.
What Montana's tourism industry is going to drop off, because isn't that the state where you can go as fast as you want?
They used
They
to have
don't
an 80,
stop.
They just have an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit. Well, first they had unlimited, and now they think they have an 80. Texas has 85.
But
So
if you
go every
speed
legal
there,
speed.
it's not actually a moving violation. It's like some sort of
Parking ticket.
it's more like an emissions fee than an actual speeding ticket. So it doesn't hit your insurance. So it's Montana.
And they have no sales tax, so you can register your Ferrari there and not pay tax.
Oh, jeez.
A lot of people do.
Okay, so, you know,
We're not
very
encouraging
real-
this. Just to be
Yeah,
clear.
definitely not. Yeah. Pay your damn taxes.
Consult your lawyer.
a very real question from a very, let's just say, conservative driver. Why do people need to go over 110?
I only do it on
why
the
are people up in arms that they're limiting it at 112 miles per hour or 180 kilometers per hour, whichever comes first?
Every so
Yeah.
often, you gotta escape the police, man.
Yeah. When you're
Or the
planning your robbery,
Cannonball
don't
Run.
take the
Yeah, well, don't do it.
There's many
I mean,
legitimate reasons, Tony. Many.
rob bank, cannonball run, yeah. No, I
I
mean,
had
in
to
the
get back
neighborhood.
home to the bathroom. I really had to go, and I do not use public toilets.
My car has a governor on it of 155 miles per hour. Even on the racetrack, the fastest I've gone is 129 miles an hour.
How does that feel? Because to me, it's like I like to feel in control, and
My
I
car
feel
is
like-
huge. I felt in control.
it just feels like okay, at that speed, something goes wrong, and you're probably not even gonna roll away from that. They'll be
on a
looking out-
racetrack.
But that's
yeah,
it was on a racetrack, and the
in a
reason I didn't go
controlled
faster.
environment.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't go faster was because there was a curve coming up. I had the numbers counting down 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh crap! Hit the brake.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a flat tire at 140 miles an hour, you're in deep shit. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not going to end well.
Right.
So.
And on the drag strip, I just run out of room before I get to top speed anyway. So there, I think my highest was $125. So
One thing that got me thinking here is with all these connected cars and over-the-air data and stuff, are we going to get to the point where, like, if you rob a bank and you're going through LA, the cops will just turn off your car? You know,
as a GM, you will.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say,
on
if you have Starlink or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tesla
Yeah.
could do the same thing if they ever
And
put the right bits
see,
in there.
will they just start going, oh, you sped in this area, so we'll just mail you the ticket, and you can't dispute it because the car told us how fast you were going.
Hopefully, that's the
Right.
same as speed cameras, where they say, "Oh, I couldn't consult my accuser" or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
hopefully
it's
they-
like
they
me,
need a
it's-
warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I know that if my car ever gets stolen, I can call the police and I can look on my app and I can tell exactly where it is. And I think I might even be able to, control the car or do an emergency stop.
Yeah,
So,
that's why there've been only like 3 or 4 unrecovered Teslas in the United States. In Germany and stuff like that, it's a little harder because you put in a lead line trailer and take it over to East Germany or wherever, across the border. It's a little harder to do than here, or it's a little harder to do here than there. Yeah, but
So-
we have data privacy laws, and hopefully they stay.
Mhm.
I don't want my car narking on me.
Yeah.
The Chevy
But,
S10 electric truck that I had was limited to 80 miles per hour,
Mhm.
and that worked fine for my needs.
And
Even that.
but what was the top speed, like 65?
No, it actually, when I first got it, they said it could go to 80. I tested that; it went to 80. But yeah, it did not go any faster.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I've driven 80 on the interstate, down the tri-state tollway around Chicago
I've done
once
85.
or twice, keeping up with traffic. But that is like the top.
Yeah.
Not 112.
But Paul, the Toyotas, they're limited to 100 or 90 or something like that, right? They like the RAV4 EV and some of the plug-in onlys. They've let grace our shores every now and then.
Driven one that fast, but
Yeah. The Nissan Leaf again. You're muted, Russell. What'd you say?
You're muted, Russell.
Still muted.
That's because I even think what I have to say isn't very important. I said that the bloody super's limited to 155, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I'm just kidding.
The reason we're limited to 155 is the gentleman's agreement with the Germans, and the tires are only rated for 155.
Yeah.
I once attended a Chevy Volt function with a bunch of engineers in Detroit, and they told us about the governor in the Chevy Volt at the time with its limits. And then one engineer said quietly, "But there's no governor in reverse."
Aha, that's like a defeat. Right.
So as long as you're
Right.
confident, you
challenge.
go faster.
I'm
At
gonna
least the
stick
engineers
my
don't have a
need
sense
for
of humor.
speed being strictly internet speed, so I can game and download things.
There it is. But an interesting thing they bring up in the article, and like Casey said, this is inside EVs, so they're taking the EV approach, is governing a Volvo here, even an internal combustion engine Volvo, actually helps electric vehicles. And it seems unrelated, but as he spells out here in the article, as Mark Kane does a good job of spelling out, is most electric cars usually are equipped with a single-speed transmission. Some of the performance cars will have a two-gear for low-end torque and then a very high top speed. But an electric motor, and the gears can only spin so fast. So electric vehicles usually have a lower top speed than an internal combustion engine. Some people would buy an internal combustion engine car because it can go faster when they hear that this electric vehicle tops out at a certain speed. They're like, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get my internal combustion engine car. But if more manufacturers start enforcing a governor that is within the electric vehicle range, it starts leveling the playing field. So now you have the instant low-end 0 RPM torque, and you're not competing with the internal combustion engine high-end, top speed. So that was the argument, that limiting top speed actually helps EV sales.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless you're going backwards, and then the new Fast and Furious in reverse coming soon to a theater near you.
Don't give them any ideas; they'll do it.
But here's another thing is that oh damn it, I lost it. Oh yes, so the gentleman's agreement with the Germans. So if Volvo is now taking the first step, if everybody else would agree with them, this could happen within the next model cycle or two. Or if the tire manufacturers just stop making tires that go that fast.
Or if you live near the Autobahn, then you get an exception. There's a special.
I was thinking about Autobahn the whole time of all of this. But there they have a more regimented driving instruction going on. And even the Autobahn is not really unlimited in as many places as it used to be. And the traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw an entire a show or something it was about. It's about like Autobahn driving in German traffic laws and the whole like drive right and maintaining distance. And there are police that monitor like every day. They're making sure people are maintaining safe following distances and stuff. It's not like people think the Autobahn is like the Wild West. You can just do whatever you want. It is highly regulated. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
When you get to Autobahn,
left lane hog over there. Left lane hog. Nope.
Not for long. Once you get to Autobahn speeds in a Tesla, the speedometer turns red.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it does it switch over to German?
No, it just turns red. It's like, hey, you should probably think about slowing the heck down.
Not going to tell you what to do, but
Your speedometer's gone from white to red. Think about this.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've covered an hour. So what do you say we do some shout outs and stay home? Because I know no one's left. So so you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start in my upper left, and I know everyone's different. But Casey, what's new?
So I've got a couple new videos out this week. One was how to use Tesla Auto Park. I had a friend who was told that she doesn't have Auto Park in her car.
I saw that, yeah.
And she does. So she tried it out, and she'll let us know how that goes. And then I did a extensive deep dive into the latest Tesla software update, which apparently they have another one coming out this week probably, so I get to do it again. But if you want to know more than, do software update, and take a picture of the screen and then just call it a day, no, there's more in there. And if you want to know what that more is, take a look at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREEN, as well as Supercharger reviews. I've got like 20 that I still need to edit and get out there. So,
All right. Thanks. So let's see, Patrick.
Hello. I have a new article up on carswithcords.net about Tesla's Project Dojo. So if you're curious about that, it's up there. I'm also working on what I think is going to happen during the 2020s. So I actually, a long time ago, did an article charting what I thought would happen with EV sales all the way out to 2070. And so far, it's been pretty accurate. So we'll see if I can be better than Bloomberg. There you go. And so that's my plug for my blog. I'm also with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. And if you're interested, we're doing our meetings online now. So we're having Zoom group meetings if you want to hang out with us. Something like this. It's kind of cool.
register to get an invite.
Yeah, you have to sign up on the mailing list and you'll get the invite. Yep.
Cool. Great. Thanks. Mark, what's new up north?
With the Waterloo Region Electric Vehicle Association, you can follow us, WREVA Group, on Twitter. And I would like to ask you, if you're watching the show at this point, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already to the YouTube channel. That helps us get in front of new eyes and helps grow the show. We would really appreciate your support.
All right. Are you looking forward to the NHL 24 team?
That is going to be interesting. Yep. I'm really interested to see what two cities they pick.
Oh, yeah. Right. Who knows? It might be Rockford and Chicago.
Could be.
But I doubt it. Paul, you're probably aching to get home. So, how are things?
Little public service announcement. Anybody with a car that only has one key fob, find a way to get a second one, because one of our side businesses, we sell keys and fobs and remotes for cars. And when you have 0 keys, it's way, way more expensive than getting a second. And you have to get your tow card to someone like me, and then I get to tell you, it's going to be about $600 to drive your car again. Where if you had made a backup key in advance, you wouldn't be in that. So get your extra key made before it's too late.
Yep.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's very affordable to get a second one for most cars, and like on the Model 3 that Patrick and Mark drive, it's $12 for a backup key card.
That's amazing. Because like a Prius, we charge for a modern Prius like $225, and the dealer's like $350.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you say I lost my own key, like at least $600.
Plus the keys.
Plus the hassle. Plus.
Yeah.
Plus a 6-pack.
If you do it right.
You bring a 6-pack.
If you do it right, yes. All right, in Georgia, is the air conditioner still running?
Yes, it's still going because it's still 100. It's cooled down by 2 degrees. It's 98 now.
It's 98 degrees, baby.
So cool. Wow, I'm freezing. Shout out to Paul for reminding me, because I only have one key to my car and I keep forgetting to make a duplicate.
What kind of car, Georgia?
It's a Honda Fit. It's not going to cost me $600. No.
Well,
if you lose the other key, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I lose the car, maybe it'll cost me $600. No, it working.
You can go on your local Facebook group or whatever and say, anybody know a local automotive locksmith? Don't go to the dealer. Find an automotive locksmith. They're probably half the price of the dealer.
Nice. I'll take care of that. And shout out to you essential workers. And I have to say, after having had to do a little shopping, because I did a little construction project this past weekend, people, would you please cover your noses? Really? Essential workers, I love and support you. It's not here. It's here.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Sweet, crispy critter Jesus on a hickory smoked bun. Cover your nose and your mouth.
If it's a problem with the glasses, put a piece of paper at the bridge or squeeze it in correctly. Most of them have a piece of wire.
No, it's just, I've seen so many people.
Mm-hmm. It's like
You
you're
know,
doing
I
nothing.
I
You
don't work with the
nose
public.
one cover.
You work with the public. You're more at risk than me. Cover here.
Mhm.
Love you guys.
watching
Stay safe.
people wear masks, I understand how contraceptive fails.
Explains it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So put it on the right way.
98% effective. 2%.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Mr. Russell Frost, my illustrious co-host this week.
Hey, well, as always, want to thank Michael Manring for his amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Do look for his exciting new record, Small Moments, on all of your favorite streaming services, and maybe buy a song or buy the album if you like it. There you go. Other than that, I want you to please visit youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Download, or not download, but watch the new video on the 2020 Toyota Highlander hybrid and the Model Y test drive. Coming soon, me going very, very slowly in the 2020 Toyota Supra.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like sarcasm.
That's all the
A
camera's
lot
on.
of sarcasm.
Yeah.
Hey, don't play innocent, Russell. Ain't
Mhm.
Nobody believing that.
It doesn't fit.
Can you
No.
I'd like to see you doing a Rockford turn.
Can I put the Brody knob on the wheel? I will. I'm trying to find a location to test launch control, and do that. I may have to drive down the stadium for that. So I'm going to do my best.
All right. Well, I don't know where you got this episode, whether you're watching it, whether you're listening to it. Of course, we're on YouTube. We're on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, and iTunes. Go ahead and subscribe to all of them. Why not? Give us some numbers. I do want to give a recommendation. If you do listen to the audio podcast through your podcast catcher, do us a huge favor. Head over to YouTube and just subscribe. I don't care if you turn on the notification or not. Just help us with our numbers here. YouTube analytics would help us out if you go ahead and jump over and subscribe. Also, I want to give one final thanks to all of our panels for being on the show. All of you, our listeners and viewers, thanks for spending another hour with us this week. Like Russell said, Michael Manring for our music, who he gives us for free, and that is awesome. So that's all we've got for this week. I want to thank you all for being with us. Make sure you tune in, download next week, and find out what drives us. See ya.
See ya. Have a good week. Everybody stay safe.
Wash your hands.